on today's episode of You Will Never Be This Fast. So, I usually like to start these videos by saying something quirky or asking a rhetorical question, but I've genuinely never seen something like this before, and it really just makes me ask, what are the boundaries of cubing at this point? So the other day I came across some solves from a cuber that is probably a lot less known than he should be at this point. He's basically just known for turning really fast and getting really fast times. So his name is Kyle Santucci, and he probably just did something that is the most impressive cubing related thing I've seen in a long time. Let's just put it like that. So yeah, you might know him for his insane TPS or getting the greatest scramble of all time in competition. If I got the scramble, I definitely wouldn't DNF. Please give me the scramble. So, you just have to watch the video to really, see how insane it is. So I mainly want to talk about 3 of the solves he did. It was an average of 5, but the first 3 solves, they basically just sum up how insane what he just did was. So it just gets better and better every single solve, and then he ends this insanity with a sub-3 single, which has only been seen on camera a few times. This was done on keyboard, but I still don't think that makes it any less impressive than it is. So the first solve that I want to talk about is the 366. Kyle's gotten a lot of solves like this, to be honest at this point. You should really just go watch him solve, it's insane. But yeah, the first solve was a mid-3 and it only gets better from here. So let me just break down the 366 and show you what he did. Alright, so this is going to be Kyle's first solve of the average, and he is dual color neutral, which means that he can solve on both white and yellow. On this solve, he actually does it on yellow cross, so we can scramble with yellow top and green front instead of white top and green front. Alright, so for this solve, our cross pieces are here, 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 and here. So what he's going to do here is he's actually just going to start out with a wide move to put these 2 cross edges adjacent to this one, and then next to put in the red one to just finish off just a standard cross here. He's going to do D prime, R, D prime. And while he's actually doing that last D prime, he also does a U move, so it kind of looks like that. And the reason he does that is to set up this pair into the back, and that's of course the first one that he goes to. And then obviously these 2 show up next, so it's just a U2. He does a wide D move here, but basically just inserts this one, and then he goes back, and now he has these 2 right here. And something interesting about these 2 is that instead of just inserting them regularly, which will give just not a great case for this last pair. Instead of just inserting it regularly, what he does is something that I've seen Yihang actually utilize a lot in his solves, and that's just doing a sledgehammer mid F12. And not to orient edges, just to make this pair better. And in this case, it actually ended up being the paired case, which is the best case. So you can use that in your solves if you want to. It's a pretty cool technique. Definitely very advanced stuff, though. So what he does is, of course, just insert it, and pretty good OLL case. Into this G-perm, which isn't the best PLO, obviously, but he did execute this solve at around 13 TPS, which is pretty insane. But yeah, G-perm into 3.66, so that was a pretty nice solve, starting us off in the mean of 3. So yeah, pretty insane. G-perm, still a 366, doesn't really matter. If you turn at 13 TPS, anything is possible, right? So now let's move on to the second solve, a 313, tying the world record. Of course it was on keyboard, but it still would have probably been around a 3.3 to 3.4. And again, the craziest thing about this solve to me is that it's full step. So let me break it down. Alright, so this is going to be his next solve of the mean of 3, which was a 3.13, technically tying the world record. It was on keyboard, so I wouldn't really count it as tying the world record, but still a great solve nonetheless, and he does this one on white cross, so we can just scramble normally for this. Alright, and he's going to start the solve with white on front, and he's going to do some more wide moves to start off this cross, or rather X cross, because he actually does do an X cross. In this case, utilizing this block right here and this edge that he's going to eventually put right here and form the X cross. So what he starts off by doing is, of course, holding white on front. He's just going to start off with a wide R prime again, the same as the last solve, and then he puts the blue edge at the back with the D2 to put it next to this orange edge. And now to do the X cross, all you have to do is put in the orange edge, and then you just do a D, and you can put both of these pieces in at the same time. He probably didn't see that this corner would go in, but he definitely saw that this would get paired up, because what he does next is he does a wide U prime. So we can just put this pair in without rotating into the back like this. So for the next pair, what he does is he actually gets a really nice case here, because whenever you insert this edge, it actually ends up pairing up these 2 as well. So the look ahead is really easy here for him, and what he does is he just inserts that. And then also look ahead in the PLO is pretty nice here, because this is a really fast OLO case, obviously. But you can notice that this block will just come to the front, And so he does this OLL, and then he gets a J-perm. And that solve was done at around 12 TPS. Just a very nice solution using some keyhole there, an X cross into a free pair, and yeah, that's how you get a 3.13 on keyboard, basically. That was a full step 3.13 second Rubik's Cube solve. I don't know how many times that we've seen that before. Probably, like, if you count all the solves, like keyboard and stack mat all together, I think that's the first time I've ever seen a full step solve that fast. And finally, let's move on to the sub 3 single, the peak of human performance on the Rubik's Cube. It really just doesn't get much better than this, ladies and gentlemen. You're only going to find just a couple of sub 3 solves out there on the internet, and definitely not one that comes right after a 3.13 second solve and a 3.66 second solve. So yeah, probably the 3 fastest solves that I've seen happen sequentially, like back to back to back. I don't know, maybe if you just turn to 13 TPS, you can do this. Alright, and finally, this is kind of the magnum opus, per se, of Kyle's great solving in this average. The 2.96, of course, a sub 3. Whether it's on keyboard or not, you have to admit this is pretty impressive either way. So he does the solve on yellow cross, and we can scramble with yellow on the top again. Alright, so our cross pieces are here, 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 and here. And he's actually going to find a pretty interesting way of doing an X cross here, which basically is going to hold it from this position with green on front. And basically what he does is he just starts off with a B prime move to put this blue edge in. So now we have blue and green opposites of each other. And then you'll notice that we have these two pieces right here. And you could just make a pair with these pretty easily, but instead what he does is he goes ahead and makes an X cross, which is also very accessible on the scramble. And how he does that is he does an R move to put this one even closer. And now he has this case right here. So you could just actually do a U here and pair this one up while also putting in this cross edge, which is very convenient. And to cancel yet another move, what he does is just does a U prime. And now we have this whole block right here, and we can just insert that into the back. So for his next pair here, he's going to do the green orange, and he's just going to do a wide D prime move, and then just pair this up in the most normal way. And then right here, this is really the moment that made the solve possible. He notices that we have this edge solved and this corner solved, and you might know what's going to happen from here. Probably the most advanced technique you can use for CFOP during the F2L is doing pseudo-slotting. So what he does is he moves this corner over here, and now he just has a very easy case where you can basically pair these two pieces up just how you would normally do it with a regular pair, and that actually solves both of them at the same time. So yeah. Pretty cool that he saw that edge at the back there. I would definitely never have seen that. That's what look ahead can do for you. And then you've got just a pretty easy OLL PLL skip right here. This is the Eric Ackersteig case. And then you've got a UAUF. So yeah, that's how you get a sub 3 basically. Do pseudo slotting, have a very efficient F2L, and then just a PLL skip. So yeah. So I don't really care if the solve was on keyboard or not. Like, you still have to admit this is a very impressive solve, and really just beautiful, man. Just beautiful. The pseudo-slotting was, of course, just great, and then you had the PLL skip on the Eric Ackersteig OLL, as I like to call it. That's the one that he got for the 708 single. That's why I like to call it that. I don't know. I just like naming OLLs after people that got really impressive solves on them. I think we should start doing that more. It's pretty cool. So no, your eyes are not deceiving you. You just witnessed a man get a mid-3, tie the world record, and then get a sub-3 in just 3 solves. It's a lot of 3s. And his mean of 3 was 3.25 seconds. So I know what you're saying, it's keyboard, so it doesn't count. But keyboard solving is fun. Like just let him have fun, man. And even if this wasn't on keyboard, I'd be willing to bet that this mean of 3 would be around 3.4 or 3.5. So it would still be, like, world best if it was on stack mat. So he didn't only get that 3.25 mean of 3, he also ended up clutching the sub 4 average, which is pretty crazy. And I can't imagine, like, after getting those solves, to even just get like another 5, like another average solve. It still takes a lot of focus to do that, because when you've gotten that many great solves in a row and you have a chance to get a sub 4 average, that's just crazy. So all of this just leaves me with more questions than answers. Firstly, how? Secondly, why? And thirdly, what is that cube that he's using? Well, Timmy, guess what? That's a GAN 12, and he got that from Speedcube Shop. Because they're the best, and the price on the GAN 12 has dropped quite a bit since it was first released, and it's still one of the best GAN cubes out there for sure. I mean, Timon, Ruihang, Yihang, all of them all use the GAN 12 in 2023, and basically every cuber that's sponsored by GAN is using this cube right now. So it must be pretty good, right? And you can get yours for even less by using code STU, that is STU, at speedcubeshop.com. So yeah, anyway, Kyle turns way too fast, and he needs to be stopped. I mean, at this point, basically sub 4 is inevitable for him. I think that within the next couple comps he goes to, he can get a sub 4. It just comes down to if he gets the right scramble, and if he gets a PLL skip, like at some point it's just gonna happen. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, you can like or share, like I don't know, whatever the YouTubers say. I'm not really in touch with the modern generation, you know. But anyway, we're almost to 5,000 subscribers, so if you want to hit the subscribe button, you can, by all means. Go for it, champ. But it's pretty crazy to say that we're already almost there, so thank you all so much for the support. And speaking of support, here's the daily reminder to support you in your cubing journey, just to know that you're always going to be slower than a 6-year-old. So, and yeah, that's about it. See ya.